Welcome to the Transition to School webinar by Children's Inclusion Support Services. Before we get started, I want to clarify that the handouts referred to throughout this webinar are available in two places. They are linked in the webinar bio on YouTube, and they are also available on the Andrew Fleck website. To find them there, go to Our Programs, click on Children's Inclusion Support Services, and from the drop-down menu, click CISS Resources. It can be helpful to download these before watching this webinar. This slide shares family testimonials. Best advice is it's going to be a roller coaster, but don't give up. You know your child, you know what they need, don't give up. Most importantly, take time for you and your mental health. Try to set up a good support team and lean on them. These quotes are excerpts from the Transition to School tip sheet. The following topics will be covered in this presentation: introduction, your options and what to do, including programs and services to meet your child's needs, Individual Education Plan or IEP, Identification Placement Review Committee, also known as IPRC, meeting preparations, and strategies and tips to ensure a smooth transition to school, to facilitate the sharing of information, and to communicate effectively with your school board. The earlier families start the registration process, the more potential to access the right supports. School boards start accepting registrations in January. Budgets for EAs, modifications, or placements are usually solidified by the end of April for the following school year. School boards and principals have competing demands and must focus on several variables, such as budgeting, staffing, and curriculum or testing, as well as your child. The following 5 categories of exceptionalities have been identified in the Education Act's definition of exceptional pupil: behavior, communication, intellectual, physical, and multiple. Please see the definitions of these broad categories on the handout included in the handout package. While a diagnosis may be helpful in identification, it is not required for an individual education plan. For example, a fine motor delay requiring additional support and adaptations. A diagnosis is mandatory for a specialized placement outside of the regular classroom placement, such as in a separate classroom or school. This slide outlines the most common placement options. Indirect support means a learning support teacher or resource teacher will monitor the child's progress. A regular class placement includes help in the classroom by an EA or a resource teacher. A regular class with withdrawal assistance includes help outside of the classroom, either one-on-one or in a small group with an EA or resource teacher. This slide outlines less common placement options. A special education class with partial integration means the child spends some time in their regular classroom with or without EA support. A special education class full-time means there is no integration into the regular classroom. This slide introduces the upcoming topic, supports. We will be talking about accommodations, modifications, and therapy. Accommodations are tools or strategies to help students learn at their grade level. Here are some examples of accommodations: providing additional time beyond the given time for a task, providing directions or prompts with respect to the pace of the activity, providing subject-specific support, for example, verbatim scribing of a student's response when writing is not being assessed, accessing a quiet workspace to complete assignments, providing preferential seating for a student who has difficulty seeing, hearing, or focusing, reducing visual and/or auditory distractions in the learning environment, using technology such as voice-activated computers or dream writers, and providing large print, braille, audio discs, or white paper for students who are visually impaired. All accommodations documented in the IEP will be made readily available to the student. Modifications are changes to the actual curriculum expectations. Here are some examples of modifications. Modifications may include reducing the amount of information or the number of expectations covered, such as identifying 10 letters instead of the whole alphabet, or integrating body breaks into the child's day. They may also include reducing the complexity or detail, for example, providing one-step instructions instead of multiple steps, or comparing and contrasting 2 items rather than 4 items. Modifications can involve using expectations from a different grade level, such as identifying the first letter of a name rather than the whole name. They can also include using expectations that are completely different from the Ontario curriculum, such as teaching life skills instead of focusing on academics. Some services are only available until a child starts school, such as CHEO and First Words. Parents inform therapists once children are registered for school. A referral will be sent in by the CHEO therapist for school-based therapy. It is important for parents to let CHEO therapists know that their child will be starting kindergarten and at which school. This slide introduces 2 documents that can support your child. The next slides will break these down further. The first document is the Individual Education Plan, or IEP. An IEP is a document used to identify what supports are needed and what those supports look like. No diagnosis is required for an IEP. An IEP can be a standalone document, or it can be part of a specialized placement or program. The second document is the Identification, Placement, and Review Committee, or IPRC. A diagnosis is required for an IPRC. The purpose of the IPRC is to decide if a special education placement is needed or requested. Placement may include a regular classroom, a specialized program, such as autism, language acquisition, assessment class, developmental disability class, or a specialized school. An Individual Education Plan, or IEP, is a written plan identifying all accommodations, modifications, and/or services required. It is a record of the specific knowledge and skills to be assessed and evaluated, and this information is used to inform modifications. An IEP is also an accountability tool for the student, families, and everyone who has responsibilities for helping the student meet the stated goals and learning expectations. An IEP is reviewed annually or at a parent or guardian's request, and it is continuous throughout your child's school career. You can see a sample IEP in the handouts provided. This slide focuses on IEP development and how you can help. Parents do not create the IEP content, but they do offer input and share strategies. Families can help by providing assessments, such as psychology or medical assessments or therapy notes. Parents can also discuss their child's strengths and needs. Examples of strengths may include a strong interest in letters and numbers, resilience, humor, or curiosity. Examples of needs may include supporting transitions by using a timer and a verbal warning, or providing support with dressing. Families are also encouraged to recommend accommodations and share what works best for their child. This may include examples of strategies that are currently working to support the child in childcare. Finally, parents can discuss whether a safety plan is needed. For example, if their child tends to run, wander, or climb unsafely. The Identification, Placement, and Review Committee, or IPRC, is a meeting of at least 3 people, one of whom must be a principal or supervisory officer. The IPRC refers to the group of people on the committee. The purpose of the IPRC is to decide if a child is exceptional, to determine their area or areas of disability, and to decide on classroom placement. The committee will meet once each school year. This committee decides if your child qualifies for support and what kind of educational placement your child will be offered. The IPRC meeting is usually no longer than 15 minutes. There are several benefits of an IPRC. It allows for an IEP to be in place within 30 days after the first day of school, and the IEP is completed as a priority before non-IPRC children. It also provides a process for families to appeal any decisions regarding supports they feel are needed, and it supports transition meetings between elementary and high school. In terms of how it works, the IPRC meets annually to ensure that your child's exceptionality has not changed and to confirm the child's placement. Parents are consulted on their child's strengths and needs, and the consultations and decisions are based on reports and documents provided by parents. Parents are also consulted on the exceptionality and on the placement. Children with a range of diagnoses are entitled to an IPRC, including children with physical needs, such as cerebral palsy, or neurodevelopmental needs, such as autism. Parents also have the option to appeal elements of the IPRC if the need arises, and there is a process in place for this. An IPRC meeting request is made in writing to the principal. Once the request is made, principals have 15 days to acknowledge the parent's request, provide a parent's guide to special education, and send a letter of invitation. In some cases, the principal may initiate the process. To prepare for an IPRC meeting, families are encouraged to submit assessments and documentation in advance and notify the principal of who will be attending the meeting. It is also important to prepare to limit the discussion to classroom placement and to make note of any other requests to be addressed at a separate meeting. IPRC meetings are typically only 10 to 15 minutes long. During the meeting, IEPs, teachers, and EAs are not discussed, as the focus is only on classroom placement. Families also have the option of bringing a support person to the meeting, such as a friend or relative, to help take notes or remember details from the meeting. If you are planning to bring a professional support person, it is important to let the principal know ahead of time. Some schools have different policies and may require advance notice for any third-party professional, such as a Children's Inclusion Support Services resource consultant. This allows the school to plan accordingly and ensure the necessary people are in attendance at the meeting. This slide shows the Getting Ready to Go to School roadmap. This roadmap is also included as part of your handouts. We'll be referring to this roadmap, and details for each step will be provided on the following slides. This slide outlines the steps from the Getting Ready to Go to School roadmap. This information is found on the second page of the handout. The first step is discuss options with childcare staff and your CISS consultant, which typically takes place in December and early January. The second step is register for school in January or February. The third step is to develop a plan, which happens in February and March. The fourth step is to collaborate and make decisions from March to June. The fifth step is to prepare for school during July and August. The sixth step is before starting school in late August. And the seventh step is when school starts during September and October. At any point during the transition to school process, a meeting with the Identification, Placement, and Review Committee, or IPRC, can be scheduled. Families are also encouraged to establish positive relationships with school staff, celebrate successes, and organize or attend meetings such as IPRCs, case conferences, or IEP revisions. When advocating for your child, there are several important points to remember. You are your child's best and most consistent advocate. You have valuable information about your child. You decide what you want to share and with whom. Put things in writing and keep copies and records. Build partnerships to support your child. Seek information when necessary. Take time to process information before making any decisions. Maintain a sense of humor. And tell someone when they do a good job. This slide highlights what to say about your child. Families are encouraged to describe their child's strengths and interests. This may include what your child does well, as well as their favorite toys and activities. It is also helpful to list your priority goals for your child. Families can describe what their child needs to be successful, such as a visual schedule, more time to respond, visual prompting, physical assistance, or close supervision. Other important information may also be shared, including allergies, fears, strong reactions to loud noises, whether a child is prone to wandering or bolting, or if they are unaware of danger. Families may also share what they want or expect, such as therapy or resource support, or a certain type of placement. Finally, any other important information can be included, such as strategies that have been successful, as well as documents like an individual support plan or ISP, or a Let Me Introduce Myself document. This slide shows the Let Me Introduce Myself template. This is a CISS resource that is included in your handouts and can support families in sharing important information about their child. This slide highlights Children's Inclusion Support Services resources that are available to the community. Families are encouraged to follow Inclusion Ottawa on social media. You can also check out our resource library. Our bilingual library offers resource books, children's books, and teaching materials in English and French. Everyone is welcome to sign up. You can also watch us on YouTube through the Children's Inclusion Support Services playlist. You can read our newsletter at www.cissnewsletter.ca, and you can explore our website using the link on the slide. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. For more support with the transition to school process, please contact your childcare program supervisor to set up a meeting with your CISS resource consultant. We'd like to leave you with this quote from Shelley Moore. Every child has a place, every child has something to share. Thank you again for joining the Transition to School webinar.